My name is Stephen Ross, and today we're going to talk about a little bit about Ross Virtual Solutions, which is my business. Um, it's a 3D virtual tours business, mainly focused on the real estate and commercial and residential real estate market to really help realtors streamline their time and maximize viewing experience for both their clients and to maximize um, the investment in their property that they have to really help flow so that when people um, you know people aren't calling them 24/7, can I see this house, can I see this house, and scheduling open house events. This is going to be an alternative to that. It's going to be a 24/7 open house, so it really is going to maximize their time in that aspect. Another awesome thing about Ross Virtual Solutions virtual tours is that it's not just limited to the virtual tours. We also have detailed floor plans, and the software provider we use also provides us with 2D stills as well. And there's a myriad of options. There's a 3D aspect of it to where it's a literally a dollhouse that you can see every level of a space and view it in a 3D model aspect, which is really neat. There's also a guided tour capability to where if someone wants to actually be taken through the house, they can just press with a single press of a button. They'll be taken through a location, and they won't have to do anything. They'll see all the stuff there is to see. So, if I could, I will show you guys um, those things that I have just talked about. Um, and we can just check those out together. So I should be. Are you guys seeing my screen here? Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes,
So
sir.
here we go. I've got this is actually an example of one of my virtual tours. So when somebody loads in, this is going to be exactly what they see, and literally it is 360 degrees of viewing experience, and you can literally walk through a location as if you were there. That is literally the front door right there. It is pretty self-explanatory. You click where you want to go, and this is over a 5,000 square foot location. It took just a little bit of time to do, but it is not too time consuming. This probably would have cost the realtor. Um, it cost 7 cents per square foot to the realtor, so it's definitely worth the investment into their properties and into their maximizing their time at that level. So that this is an example of one of the tours. Like I said, this is the dollhouse view. You've also got the floor plan view, and then the guided tour view as well, which will take you through the house and show you different aspects, pan around just a little bit. Um, if an individual is not as comfortable, clicking through the house themselves and they want to be taken through. So it's really self-explanatory, very intuitive to use. This is you're looking at it in 4K right now, super high quality. And now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the other deliverables I was talking about. Let's see. So we've got right here is one of the pictures that it took, and I mean that looks professional quality. It's not edited by myself at all. That's how it comes to me, completely free from Matterport, which is a software provider that we use. And this is a floor plan right here, which by itself, if a realtor was going and getting a floor plan made, this thing right here would probably be a couple $100 in itself. So it's really this is generated for $15, and we sell that to the realtors for $30. So it is definitely worth it. If they just wanted the floor plan, to go ahead and purchase that virtual tour, because they're probably going to save money in that aspect as well anyways. So that is just a little bit about Ross Virtual Solutions. I don't know if you guys have any more questions or anything you'd like me to touch on that I didn't, but that's my little spiel right there. So
I have to admit, I'm quite impressed. It's a very cool software. I've looked at several of the realtor software before, and that's definitely a lot clearer picture than some of them that are currently being used. But how are you going to compete with the software that's currently out there and widely available in the market, and figure out a way to show that yours is something different and besides just the demonstrations?
yes, absolutely. The way we're really going to compete is definitely user education. It's definitely going to take a lot of time and a lot of investment to do that. And really, this is the software provider that I was talking about, Matterport. They are proven to be the highest quality in the market. They are cutting edge. They're using AI to make that model for us within 24 hours. A lot of the other software, you're actually, I would actually have to go in and actually make the tour myself. But with Matterport, I'm sending it off to them, and they're going to be making it for me, sending it back. So it's really going to be a lot less time on my side, a lot faster turnaround for a much higher quality product. And that's where really we're going to have our competitive edge, is that higher quality for probably a lower price. We're charging about 6 to 7 cents per square foot for residential, and we're tweaking a little bit with the commercial side to fit their needs. So it's really, we're trying to price it to where it's competitive with those lower quality um, virtual tours, but we're also looking to show them that it is higher quality. So that's really where we're finding our competitive edge.
One more question. Just curious, how did you come up with the idea? Was this something you were already working on? Was it strictly just for the project? Because you've gone to quite an extensive presentation here, so I'm just curious as to what made you come up with this.
No, absolutely. Great question. I have no experience in the real estate world. you know, I've never bought real estate. I've never had a home buying experience, if you would say. But I really just I saw a need in the market for high quality. I saw a need for cutting down on agents' time spending in an open house and taking people through. And as you said, there are virtual tour alternatives, and realtors could do this for themselves with just a couple $1,000s worth of investment. But to really be able to get that off to somebody else and take that burden off of them, I really saw a need in the market that could be filled, and I just did some research, hooked up with Matterport, and I thought this would be a great opportunity, just to meet the needs of realtors that were needing to be met in real time.
Thank you.
I agree with Kim. It's really great product, Stephen. You did a great job presenting it to us. A couple of things that I would mention: don't just focus on just realtors that are property owners. Like, for example, that might have rental properties. They could definitely use that. I definitely could use your service right now, given the situation. One of the concerns, and as a property owner, this is my concern. Most oftentimes when people take pictures and put it online, a website like Zillow or somebody grabs those pictures and now they're stuck on that website. Now, if a 3D version of my house is on somebody's website, it becomes a security concern, because now everybody knows where the doors are, where the windows are, and how they can plan their route and how much time it takes. You get the floor plan and so on. So my question to you is, how would you address the security concerns of your clients?
Yes, absolutely. That is a great concern, and that is actually one that I've lost a client over. And we have had extensive conversations. I've been fighting to get him back, but this is absolutely something that is a concern, and it is something that definitely is very concerning. But here's what I'd say to that. Now, if someone was going to go through the trouble, of uh, breaking into a home, memorizing those routes and whatnot. They could just go to the open house event, and they could plan their route accordingly, through an open house event, and do the same thing. Our virtual tours are an open house event. It's not something that hasn't existed before. It's special in that it's online. It's open 24/7. But like I said, they could go to the open house event. They can look at the pictures. But it is definitely a security risk, and as for that, we do have liability insurance up to $600,000 to where we can mitigate those losses if we have a claim, on those grounds. So that's how we're looking to mitigate those losses. But like I said, I think people can pretty much have that same concern when you're opening your house to the public, and letting people walk through, there. So absolutely a valid concern there. So, but I hope I've addressed it.
No, thank you. I'll pass it on to Robbie.
I appreciate it. I've got several questions, and some of them can be kind of rapid fire. But have you thought about using this for individual homeowners? I mean, I've been in this house for 13 years, but from an insurance standpoint, or homeowners documenting their house for insurance purposes, or insurance companies that need to do claims on kind of complete destructions. Have you considered that or not?
Absolutely, we're open to any kind of project. Anybody that wants to get in touch with us and say, "Hey, I need you to do a virtual tour of this or that," we're not going to be asking many questions. We're going to get the address. We're going to be there, probably next day, or same day if we need to be. But as you said, I mean, we'd be definitely open to do those projects, but it's not going to be, one that we're going to be pouring tons of advertising dollars into capturing that market. It's definitely a valid part of the market that like renters and apartment, multifamily areas there. That's probably going to be most of our concern, residential, commercial. But definitely, we'd be open to doing other projects if people get in contact with us. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think when you think about that, I think it's sexy to kind of chase the big market there, but that's where all the competitors are. And so if you think through, these insurance companies, I don't know where they go. I mean, I can tell you, we had a claim a year ago, and they had some crappy app that they had me take 3 pictures in. It took the guy like 3 days back and forth to upload. Like, it's not working well, the current situation. But so anyway, that's a consideration. The other thing, I think if this is a crowded space, and I read your business plan, you did a good job with it and outlining your competitors there, you're going to have to carve out some niche that you can serve. Like, you're the guy that photographs every property along the Tennessee River. Like, I'll tell you, down at Smith Lake, there's a guy that's titled himself like Mr. Smith Lake. Which, okay, cool. But like, for real, when people come to sell their house on Smith Lake, they come to him, because he's titled himself that way, and they think through that. And so just think about what your niche could be, if it's in that realm or any other. So have you thought specifically about that, or are you trying to compete with the overall market?
Robbie, that's a great point that you've brought up, and one that we absolutely need to be looking into, which I'll definitely start looking into that. I haven't really put any thought into that insurance realm. Like I've said, I'm one of little experience, and I'm always looking to learn. So definitely we'll be looking into that insurance aspect there. See if I can't learn some more about that, because that definitely sounds like an opportunity. As far as the niche aspect of it, we absolutely are looking to, fight our competitors head on, which might not be the best idea, but, we're doing what we can, making appointments with realtors, trying to get into their offices, using the relationships that I already have with, heads of real estate agencies. I personally know probably 3 or 4 heads of real estate agencies, and other people that I know have been wonderful in getting me into contact with several realtors. Miss Laney herself has personally gotten me into contact with 2. So everybody's willing to help where they can, and we're definitely looking to carve out a niche. But at this point, I can't tell you that we found it yet.
Oh, that's good. That makes sense. So, what do you think could be the biggest disruptor of your plans as it's presented right now? What could derail the business?
Yes, probably the biggest disruptor to the virtual tours is definitely what Mr. Deverapalli brought up, is that security aspect, that people would be worried. If the public really starts to get worried of, people are looking at these virtual tours and they're going to break into my house because they know everything about my house. If that becomes the widespread public concern, we're done. We can't come back from that. Once the public sentiment is changed to virtual tours in that aspect, I think that's going to be it for the industry. So to mitigate that, we've really just got to get ahead of that curve and be prevalent and in the market, situated before that becomes the widespread concern, to where everyone becomes so concerned and needing a virtual tour in that home buying experience so bad that they just can't get away from it. You need those pictures to be able to see a house. But you used to have to go and be in that house to see it. But now people, sometimes rely on the pictures. So that's what we're hoping is going to happen. We're going to want people to start relying on those virtual tours to see the house instead of actually going to see it in person. So definitely it's that security aspect that would be the biggest concern.
Okay, so tell me about, I'm sorry I'm asking so many questions, but tell me about how this integrates with the realtor's website right now. Is there a direct plugin, or is it you post a file, or how does that work?
There are 2 ways that I can send them the virtual tour. I can send it to them in a direct link, which they can open up, and it'll take them to, it'll open in a web page. But there's also an embed link that I can send them to. If they have a website, they can post that directly into their code, and it'll make a little box to where you can view the tour in. So there's 2 methods: the link and an embed code.
Okay. So I liked your answer about, what could disrupt your business. So that's a holistic, the entire virtual home touring area answer. I think one of the concerns I'd have, looking over your business plan and talking with you, and I'm asking you more detailed questions because I know you're serious about this, is Matterport specifically. You're locked in with them if you've chosen this path to go down. And so you have to think about how you're going to pivot away from them. If, what if they doubled their prices, or what if they get shut down? What if, their servers, what if they get hacked? There's a lot of things like that your business has to protect itself from what could happen, being so tied in with someone else. So have you given some thought to that?
Absolutely. We have definitely given some thought with that, and it is mildly concerning, as you said, that we are so tied down with Matterport. We bought our camera through Matterport. They process all of our virtual tours, and if Matterport goes down, we definitely have to pivot to the next best thing, which would be a different virtual tour software, which would probably not be as high quality and would require a little bit more work on my end, but we'd definitely be open to doing that to serve our clients' needs.
Yes, sir. All right. I've got a whole bunch more, but I'm going to pause right there so someone else can ask.
I've got one quick question. You just mentioned the cost of the cameras and stuff. Is that worked into the price that you have for Matterport, or is that additional expenses? Because I don't see the cameras and that kind of equipment listed out on your business plan.
Yes. The camera expenses is going to be, I listed that under depreciation over a 5-year term. So that's the cost that you're going to see in depreciation there. I don't know if I did that quite right. I think Miss Laney brought that up at one point. But I did depreciate all of my equipment costs over 5 years. Yeah, the camera costs about $2,500 within itself.
All right, Stephen. I just have a couple of comments and thoughts that, that I wanted to pass on to you. The security concern that I brought up with me also being in the tech industry, if I were to solve it, the way I would solve it is send an expiring link so that the tour is not there forever, but you get a one-time click or a 24-hour link that it goes away and it's individual. That's one way to deal with that. And I know you haven't bought a house yet, but having done that, let me walk you through a few other prospective customers you might want to think about. It's not just the realtors, it's not just the real estate owners, but when somebody is trying to get a mortgage, they go through what they call an appraiser. An appraiser, all he does is pretty much what you showed. They come measure the house and make sure that the square footage is, what they say it is, and the house is in a habitable condition. So that's a good place for you to sell your product for appraisers, because that's a big industry in itself. And the same thing with home inspection. Home inspectors actually do a lot more than an appraiser, but they can use your services too. So definitely don't leave them out. And in a weird tangential way, if you ever work with Home Depot or Lowe's, and if you ask them to come do a carpet install or a flooring install, they charge you about $50. And what those guys do is come measure your floor and take pictures on what the floor plan that you did. They do exactly that, but now you can be the virtual person who can actually now do that for them, and so that they don't have to send a physical person and charge you for it. So keep those all in mind, just not the realtors, but the real estate works because there's a lot of teams that works together. So you can actually penetrate into all those teams, including mortgage companies, and like Robbie was saying, insurance companies. All these work together. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those ideas. Absolutely, we will definitely be looking into those. Thank you very much.
All right, Stephen, I'll wrap up by a couple things. So I want you to think about you can charge different prices and make even more profit on different types of clients. And so commercial, the commercial play, you may be able to charge more than, I don't know if 7 cents a foot is the right answer, but it may be 10 for them, or it may be 5 for residential or something like that. You'll have to play with your numbers there instead of, don't necessarily think that it has to be the same number for both residential and commercial. That said, I think, at least from my experience with commercial spaces, they're more spread out. And so it's a lot easier for you to photograph specifically, which gets me to my second point, which is consider aligning your incentives. So I saw in there that you'd worked out. I thought it was funny how your owner's compensation was $20 an hour, but you were going to pay someone else $15 an hour to do it, which I appreciated that. It's entrepreneurship right there. But I would say consider aligning the incentives there. So you're going to pay somebody by the hour, but that doesn't guarantee you how much square footage. So if you pay somebody by the square footage and then you can kind of assure the quality on the backside, then it's a win-win, and you can make sure that your margins are kind of set over time, and you don't have to worry about somebody being slower than another person. Because, and my hope for you is that this isn't just Stephen, there's 15 people doing this, and you're having to kind of juggle the margins of different people there. So if you pay them per square foot that they do on a commercial space or residential space, I think that may be something to consider. Last thing I'll mention is an ask is, what are your plans for this while you're in college? Who's running the business? Who can you get to do these spaces while you're there? Just talk to me about that.
Yeah. In college, I'd probably be looking at scheduling between my class time because, in college, I've been told you don't go to class all day. So we definitely have some time, a couple hours in between classes, in the morning, at night, to where we could do those things on the weekends. So we can definitely schedule around when I need to be doing those locations. A lunch hour would be fine. These spaces don't really take too long to do, and definitely, as you're saying, incentivize those individuals who are going to be capturing the spaces. If it's not me, definitely probably going to be better than the hourly pay. I'll definitely look into a formula for that. But yeah, we definitely be scheduling around my schedule until we have enough workflow to need someone else.
Yes, sir. Makes sense. I appreciate it, Stephen. Good job.
All right, let's
Thank you very much.
one more time. Kim, do you have any additional questions?
No, great job, Stephen.
Chakri, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but I have one more comment because Robbie brought up the commercial space. That again reminds me, Stephen, of something else that I was listening to the other day. Fire marshals. Fire marshals are always thinking about what's the exit route of a commercial space, because anytime they need to go in case of an accident, they don't want to go there and try to figure out what's the exit route. So if you do a commercial space as a tangential benefit, now you can sell the exit routes. Think about Parkway Space Mall. And now you have the exit routes mapped. And now that can be a tangential benefit that you can be offering to other people. But that's the only comment I had. Thank you.
Robbie, any additional questions or comments?
I'm good. Thank you.
Stephen, anything else you would like to say?
Thank you guys for being here with me this morning and listening to my little idea that's grown into something more. So thank you guys for the comments, the questions, really helped me think through all the important things. Definitely thank you for your time, for being here.